I've been a volunteer firefighter for over 25 years, and the firefighting foam contamination is widespread. PFAS chemicals, they're called the forever chemicals, and everybody here has forever chemicals, and these PFAS chemicals in your blood. Through this journey, I met some of our founders, and I'll turn it over to Zach.
Hi everyone, thank you for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Zachary Hodgin, co-founder of FireRain, and I just want to kind of give you a sense of the problem that we're faced with. As Quincy mentioned, each and every one of you, including myself here today, have trace amounts of these problem chemicals in your blood, and these problem chemicals are PFAS. What it does, it gets into the drinking water and basically disrupts and contaminates the whole food supply. And it's really mainstream in the US now, where the EPA actually has a task force on removing and banning these substances, and Canada is actually starting to take note and making some changes. But to give you an idea of the extent of the problem, there's lakes in the US where, similar to mercury in the Great Lakes, where you can only get so many fish when you're out in your boat because of the content. Certain lakes have such a high PFAS content that you restrict on the amount of actual fish you can actually remove safely. So it's in the drinking water, it's a big problem. We've been on a lot of webinars and actually spoke to Rob Billett, who's the lawyer in the Dark Waters film, and he's actually focused on firefighters now, and actually there's a big class action lawsuit going on towards the firefighter health and safety and removing these chemicals from use. The issue is these chemicals are very bad, but they're also very effective as polymers and actually for use in things that we use. They work very, very well, and it's been really difficult to find an alternative for them. So from the perspective of firefighters, just to give you an idea of the why and why we developed our company called FireRain to come up with a solution for this, both Quincy and I have family members and friends in the fire service who have passed away from occupational cancers. And just to paint the picture of some of the stats, so 1 in every 10,000 babies born to the general population will have some type of cancer. So that's infant cancer. Now, to a firefighting family, 1 in every 200 babies born will have cancer. So these are that gives you an example of the types of chemicals that we're exposed to and the impact that it has not only on our bodies, but also on a reproduction and having families. So this is a really big issue, and we need to remove a lot of the workplace exposure to these hazards, because as you can appreciate, when we have a fire, there's all these nasty chemicals that burn, and especially with the changes in building construction where we're using these synthetic materials, it's not just wood burning anymore. There's a lot of aromatics, carcinogenic from the glues and adhesives that are there in the foams, and it's a big problem for us. So I'm going to take a step now and actually hand it back over to Quincy to talk about the origin story and how we started developing the company and then learning about these problems as we grew.
Yeah, so about 10 years ago, I started doing some research on some water additives, firefighting foams, and some other products. And we came across gel technology. And it's just like I said, it's just like your hair gel that you want to put in your hair. So it makes water stick. And I thought this is really interesting. Started digging more into the firefighting foams and water additives, and it seems that the farther that we dug, and talking with some of the other founders, the farther we got into this, the angrier we got, because we were given assumptions that the products are safe, they're biodegradable. So you assume that would be safe, and it's a poor joke that we use, but we say nuclear waste is biodegradable. You're not going to roll around in it, that's for sure. So we started working on, we went to Queen's University, they sent us to Green Center Canada, who made the base product of our product, and it was a tongue-in-cheek comment at that moment. It was, with the knowledge that we brought in, how safe do you want to make this? And we said, safe enough to eat. And then shortly after that, that's where I met Zach, and we had already brought in Peter Sells and Stephen Montgomery, our two other founders that couldn't join us today. And it's been a 10-year passion to do better for the fire service. We're finding that 8 out of 10 fire chiefs are either dealing with a drinking water related contamination due to firefighting water additives, or they know that there's one coming. So one of our calls of action here today is go back to your municipality, because this is going to affect you, this is going to affect your children, this is going to affect anybody in your family, it's going to affect food supply. So we developed the EcoGel technology, and I'll let Zach talk a little bit more about the tech and how we use it.
Yeah, sure. So basically what we did is, as Quincy mentioned, we worked with Green Center Canada to come up with the base product. That's when I jumped on board, and they quickly locked me into a lab and had me basically make thousands of samples to try to improve the product. And as I was, looking at solving this problem, learning chemistry, and basically I can tell you about 1,000 different ways of how not to make the product. But what we did is we kept working to actually come up with our minimally viable product. And what it is basically, it's a mixture of 100% plant-based feedstocks that's actually grown by Canadian farmers. So over 60% of our bio feedstocks are actually grown by Canadian farmers. Everything is produced in Ontario actually as well. Our manufacturing is here, and we would like to keep this a Canadian made and Canadian produced company even as we scale. So back to the analogy from this morning is we don't want to be the Christmas tree that gets cut off before we bloom and go off to the States, right? That being said, we have really sparked some interest in our industry, and we have some very large chemical companies we're speaking to now, because when the industry has this big of a problem and you have the solution, there are groups that take note. So we are very excited of how we're going to advance things. But basically what we have is this mix of biopolymers that's a concentrate, and what it does is it mixes with water coming out of the fire hose to create this sticky gel. And what that does is when applied, it actually takes those byproducts of combustion that are nasty. So not only is it plant-based, but it actually grabs onto those nasty carcinogenic products that are in the house fire and actually keeps them from running off into the ecosystem as well. And there's all these other benefits to having a product that sticks and stays where applied and doesn't cause further contamination. And what we've also realized is as we've grown, I moved from being back in the lab to actually a BD, and we've actually hired scientists and PhD chemists that manage all of that for us. And because we have such a skilled team, we found all these different areas that we can modify these polymers to create new products and different solutions. One example is you can put it through a pressure washer and coat your house and protect it from a wildfire coming. So people in British Columbia, California can really have benefit from there. You can also mix it on the tarmac, put it on a plane, and drop it from a water bomber. And it's much more effective and safe than the foam and retardants that are currently in use now. So there's many applications. We had another gentleman today talk about the problem solving and the entrepreneurial need to solve a problem. Well, when we were working in the lab trying to make our product better, we had an issue and the product would separate, and it didn't have a very good shelf life. So what we did is we thought, well, okay, when we mix it with water, what comes out of the hose line, the finished product, doesn't settle. So he said, why don't we package that in an easy-to-use spray can and market it for retail? And then you can see the desk out front, we've got our retail products now that spun off of basically trying to solve the stability problem by adding water to the product to give the customer the finished product instead of the concentrate. So that's just a little flavor of what we've had to how do we have to adapt and pivot to solve business problems. I'll let Quincy jump into kind of some of the exciting opportunities and the traction we're getting with some of the departments and how we're growing.
Yeah. So we've been 10 years at this. It's taken 2 years to get the certification bodies to understand this is new technology. Foam standards and foam certifications say thou shall make bubbles. We don't make bubbles. We make water stick. We make water put out fires faster. So over 2 years, we went and optimized the formula and worked with them to outline a recognition and verification. We went down in November of last year And at the end of February, we finally received UL recognition and verification that our product puts out Class A fires, which is your normal combustibles, and your Class B fuels. So this is a huge step for the company. In the meantime, we've been working with a few smaller departments, trying to get them on board and using it. And our volunteer fire department's been a leader. And they've been using the product for 3 years. Exclusively, no foams. So now, since February, we now have 8 fire departments using our products. So it's not that, again, it's not that it is different, but it's more effective. And we have a fire department joining on in the US, probably in the next 2 weeks. And we're starting to get interest around the world. There's a lot of exciting new things. Everybody's into electric vehicles. Well, electric vehicles scare the fire chiefs. On our tours of trade shows and whatnot, the first thing the fire chiefs ask us, is your product going to give us cancer? No. Is your product effective on lithium-ion batteries? We believe so. The similar products, not as environmentally friendly or benign like ours, are being used in Europe, and we're going to Europe next month to test the product out and do a proof of concept. These are game changers in the industry, and it's been an exciting ride. We built our company on the mantra of a fire department where brothers were sisters, and we're all in this together, and everybody's in. And Zach, do you got anything else to add on that?
Well, I think, why don't you hand it over to Paul and maybe you can ask some questions. Yeah.
Actually, I just, thank you very much. This is really, I'm just surprised as to why we don't know more about this problem. I mean, it's been going on for quite some time, and I don't think there's enough being said about this. So that's my first question. And two, and you sort of touched upon this, more than just sort of a business opportunity, why is this personal for you? Or is it personal?
Yes, as Zach has mentioned, we've had relatives pass with firefighting related cancers, too many friends and family. It is personal. It's contaminating our neighborhoods and our children, our waterways, and our food. Not to mention the fish in the water. Not just that, but in the States, you're seeing reports now of large dairy farms, and the cattle having to be culled because of PFAS downstream affecting the cattle. So these are huge potential.
Why don't we know more about this? And why am I only I'm probably not aware of everything going on in the world, but I haven't even heard about this until I really met you guys.
It's like dark waters. It's taking a while for the lid to blow off this. This is going to be, one of our founders, Peter, says this is going to be our generation's asbestos. And there's a huge need to change. And a lot of the municipalities are keeping these things under wraps. One is because they're overwhelmed at the magnitude of what the cleanup costs could be, and they're just not educated. Like I said, the salesman comes in, and it's not the salesman's fault. They don't know the chemistry, but they give you the assumption, oh, it's biodegradable, so the chief thinks it's okay. And the chief's got a million things going on. And every time that pager goes, or the tone goes, and the truck goes, he's worried about everybody's lives. So things slip, and we're out there building awareness. And we appreciate being here to build more awareness.
That's a waker. Hey, thank you very much. I'm glad that I could at least help be a part of, some of this, and hopefully this gets the conversation going. I know that there's a lot of representatives here from the public sector in Durham, and hopefully they can take some of this information back. And you guys are going to hang around for a while if you wanted to talk to you. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to provide more information on the company and why we're doing this. And I mean, we are growing, and we are looking for investors, and we're closing an investor round actually in the next couple weeks. So now is a good time to get in before we scale. The time is good if you want to be part of something like this and help us grow. A vision that we have, obviously, is to see this product used globally so that it can have the biggest impact on firefighter safety and human health. That is really the end goal.
And this would be a Canadian innovation around the world. Again.
That's right.
Like insulin. Yeah.
Exactly. We have patents in over 7 countries now, a robust IP portfolio where we can explore and sell in many different areas. So
good. Okay, guys, thanks very much. A round of applause here. Thank you so much.